Just big shout outs to people like Dr. Salcedo, who every time we came into the office, she was there, just a constant, and to be there to help us and to, um, for me personally, always call me out on my shit. She was so good at that. She's a good shit caller outer. And you know, anything you wanted done in the office or anything you needed, she was there to call you out on it and say, oh, I didn't get this turned in. And she would tell you straight up, like, oh, I didn't get this. Why didn't you get it? Oh, I forgot to turn it in. So it's your fault, right? And then you're like, oh, damn, yeah, I guess. So if you ever like, if you ever thought you're gonna come in and get like, get some feel goods, you would, but you would still get some straight up answers as well. So, and I always appreciated that because my tias at home were like that, and I appreciated to have that there. CCCP is a family, and that's what it was like, and that's what it was a part of. People, I know that there's some staff on here that are coming in and going to be staying on for the year as we're exiting out. And, it's not the staff trainings that you grow in or you learn in. It's when the full-time staff go home at 5 o'clock and you're still putting together a program for the weekend, a Saturday academy, and you're all there, you know, grinding it out with each other, or even doing homework, after hours at 5, 6 o'clock at night in those rooms, in those offices. Those are really important. And I wouldn't have those experiences if it wasn't for MPI, if it wasn't for CCCP, reaching out to me and being there for me. So I know that we're getting ready to come back, and we did our blessing for the day, so we won't start with that. And are all the streamers on here yet? If not, we're gonna go ahead and start with their video. So I have the pleasure to introduce our next panel family. And if you could pull up their slide as I'm talking, they're a family that has been really, really supportive to me. And for those of you that don't know, I was a mental health consultant for one of the Native undergraduate programs at UCLA. And I started working as a consultant in 2011 before I was a student. And it was really interesting. I seen David come in, David, the oldest brother, come in as a freshman. And then his junior year, his sister Minda came in. And then and then 2 years later, Daniel came in. And then, and so I had the pleasure of being there when they all came in. I had the pleasure of being there with all of them. And then I had the pleasure of being there, and we all left together one by one. So I've been to their home, and I've been spent holidays with them, and a lot of great things, a lot of great memories. And they're my family. So we're going to go ahead and show their video, and then we're going to have them, and then we'll go ahead and have them introduce themselves, and we'll start off.
I would describe the reservation, I'd say it's really beautiful, quiet, peaceful.
There are no casinos, nothing like that. We pretty much know everybody who lives there.
My brothers and I were always close growing up.
As my brother and sister chose UCLA, I wanted to be a part of that community.
Nobody in my family ever really went to college that I knew. It wasn't like a thing.
My grandmother first went to school because she was forced to go to school.
Historical trauma, I see that within my own family.
They wanted to please their dad. They wanted to please me. They saw the fruits of their labor.
So always from a young age, I knew that I was gonna go to college. I didn't really know what it was. I just knew it was more school. We all came at different times, so I was here for 2 years by myself. And then my sister came in, and then Daniel came in, you know.
My brothers and I were always close growing up. I think that might have to do with the fact that we shared a room for like 10 years. We did everything together. You know, yeah, they're my best friends.
I don't know what they're doing. I'm not handy like that. I like to bake or bead. David built me a loom, it's like this big, and it's adjustable.
So it can go all the way. So I'm just beading my sash. Class of 2018. Oh, that's Daniel's high school graduation cap. I beaded this for him. I think I was a sophomore. This is David's, Daniel from high school and David from college. And it's always during finals week they give me this stuff. My first year here at UCLA was really fun. Just like getting to know the campus and like taking college classes and meeting new people. Yeah, at times I felt really overwhelmed. I'd get really homesick. David would take me home a lot. He had already experienced 2 years of college, so he could, you know, tell me a little bit like how to navigate it.
We're gonna imagine that we're like our own like tribe here, okay? And we're determining whether or not we're gonna have a casino, okay? So you are proponents for casino. I struggled a lot for like 2 years. It was really hard for me to just pass my class, you know, and learn how to write, learn all these different things that like, I had to relearn all this stuff. So a lot of my professors, a lot of the faculty have really helped me because I could have just been left behind and I would have just, you know, been dropped to the wayside. When you have a sibling here or have your family here, it's a lot more comforting. Like you have individuals that are always there and you can always talk to. It's fun to hang out with them.
They were essentially the only role model I had that were geared towards higher education. I saw them, how they treated their teachers, how they respected their teachers, how they respected their schoolwork. Certain things like that, like the way you treat others, really plays into your success. Working with kids, they all have their own view of the world, and college isn't necessarily in that view. And I think that's just part of being kids, having that innocence. Whenever I sit down with a student, I try to make sure they understand why they're doing it, why it's important.
Mission,
These are actually tough projects.
And having that explanation really helps a child grow.
Just being around them, they would lift people's spirits and they'd make them strive harder. And it wasn't because they were, you know, trying to put on a show or anything like that. They just had it in them to live like that.
All my shirts are from UCLA, free t-shirts. From the powwows, the youth conferences, whatever they got going on there. Okay, I'm just gonna call the guys up. Jim! It's Ratty! That's something we've always done too. I just wanted them to have the things that they needed to have to be able to survive here. That's my greatest heartbreak, is not finishing my education. I had a family altercation and I was sent off of the reservation. I had to leave the reservation when I was 14 years old and had to leave my school, and nobody really came and got me and said, oh, you need to come back, you know, you need to finish your school. They just kind of said, okay, well, see you later.
Traditionally, we're cremators, so people would pass, we would burn the bodies, burn the possessions. But we just burn to burn, you know, because it's convenient. We don't have like a dump to take it to or anything like that, so.
In a sense, too, we're a developing community. We've, you know, in the year 2000, we barely got electricity and telephones, and then running water.
When I was born, we didn't have electricity. We have a little generator up here. The house is pretty old now, though. Huge parties here all the time with everybody from around the res, all of our family from my dad's side. It was always a really good time. I built this bed frame right here. It was like in high school. That's like, we didn't have a lot of hard sciences and things like that, but I was able to take small engines, welding, like wood shop. So that's things that we did do.
Honestly, our youth really isn't college bound. I didn't even think that you could apply to UCLA. You know, that's not a college you can apply to.
Well, I've always believed that you had to be a multi-millionaire's kid or an actor from Hollywood to get in there. When David got in there, I was like, what? Holy crap, dude.
We come from a background where we're stereotyped sometimes and oh, you know what, they're Native Americans, so, you know, they're probably can't be educated properly or whatever the case may be. When you have a family like the Streamers, they've come out and proven that, hey, you know what, if we can do it, anybody else can do it.
You have the world at the end of your fingers, you know, you just gotta pull it in.
Basically, I always tell people we're survivors. If you can live here on this reservation and be happy, have a vehicle, have a job, you're surviving. Because if not, you're stuck. If you can change things for the better, it's really like a little piece of heaven.
The mountains, the fresh air, you hear the bees and the rosemary. This was my people's land, so why would I want to leave it?
I want to do the community garden. Ever since I was born, there's been a garden at our house.
We make a better space in this community right here. We got tons of little cousins coming up growing up. They're gonna need all the help that they can get, so.
The days get longer and the days get warmer, then they just really start pumping the eggs out. They're nice.
So my dad, he made us do our chores, made sure we weren't fighting with each other. He was always strict with us, but he was never mean to us.
The most important thing, I feel, they grow up to be honest and hardworking and to love their neighbors. And that was my greatest desire.
The good thing about my parents is they never forced us to do anything, you know, like, even though my mom, she took a lot of steps to ensure that we were going in the direction of college, you know. She never sat there and said, oh, you have to go to college.
Aunt Davida and Uncle Jim, they had presence. They were always there for them, always. You know, if, like when we would come home, sometimes our mom wasn't home. You know, we'd come home and then PJ would cook us dinner. Or Toby would make us whatever we find, knowing there was going to be a meal on the table. If I leave, my mom's still going to be there when I come home at the end of the day. That's a lot for them, you know, that security.
I wasn't going to let my kids be treated the way I was treated. It just seemed like nobody cared.
There's me, there's Daniel, brand new born, right at home.
You know, we had the best life growing up. You know, she made sure that we had a stable household, and yeah, so she was just really supportive and just there for us. She was there for every sports game that we had, every event. She was just always there for us, and you know, we felt that, we knew it, and it made a big impact on our lives.
This was my first notepad. We just like listed all these colleges that we thought we should apply to. Well, then I started to figure out what they needed to get into these colleges. You know, did they have the right requirements? Were they getting that at school? And then at the time I didn't have internet, so I would go to the library and I would look up things. I didn't know about SAT prep. None of those things are available at the high school, nothing. And then I'm like, started figuring out how to pay for this stuff.
My grandmother first went to school because she was forced to go to school. You cut your hair, don't speak your language, get beat if you act like a savage.
In the late 19th century, the United States instituted a federal boarding school program for American Indian people. They had high mortality rates, high levels of disease, and people were forbidden to speak their own traditional language or to enact any of their cultural traditions, according to the man who founded the reservation system. His plan was to, quote, kill the Indian and save the man.
There's still people alive today who remember being taken, remember running away from schools.
School really was a taboo. Like, okay, you're going to school because you want to be a white man.
It's not necessarily an anti-education culture, it's an anti-government culture.
We weren't taught normal history, like what happened to the Indians.
So between 1846 and 1873, California's indigenous population plummeted from perhaps 150,000 people to just 30,000 survivors. The state government began to build a state-sponsored killing machine, and the United States Army added to the death toll. Between 9,400 and 16,000 California Indian people, at an absolute minimum, were killed.
There's this thing, it's called historical trauma or intergenerational trauma. It talks about how the experiences that happen to Native people pass down through generation to generation. That's why you see these reoccurrences of things like alcoholism, abuse, all these different types of things in our communities.
Anybody will attest that is affiliated with the reservation that, yeah, their uncles or aunts, cousins, a lot of them suffer alcoholism problems, and we've lost quite a few relatives because of that.
And it takes individuals like my mother to break these cycles.
How can you not love them, you know? How can you not love your kids? That's really what all this is about how much I love my kids. And I went through a lot just to make a stable home for them, you know, so they come home from school. Because I would come home from school on the bus and, you know, I wouldn't know if my mom and dad would be there, if they would be drunk, or if she would be okay because she was ill a lot. I just love them so much, and I just want the best for them. I want the best.
It seems like there's always a lot of pushback when I say that I'm gonna try and go into law. You can really make positive change within not only like large legal structures, but also in your own community. So.
Having a good understanding of law makes you become a stronger leader in American Indian communities. I still want to be a lawyer to have this knowledge. But currently I kind of want to, after these 4 years, I want to go back home. Wherever I'm needed, I want to serve, you know. If I see that students need an extra tutor, I would step in as that tutor. And like when my siblings get established in what they have, I would feel more comfortable going back to school. I think it's very important that if one of us are there, it'll better all of us.
One thing I'm really passionate about is the Native youth. Sometimes they're just in bad situations and I just want to help them get out of that. I just hope that we can uplift the spirits of our people, get things going, utilize their resources. We can really do something, but we just have to physically be there.
Definitely this whole valley right here, this whole region, I'll definitely, you know, die here. Yeah, all Native people, they have their creation stories, you know. And their creation stories are where they come from. And for us, this is where we come from. You know, a lot of people don't realize that they're occupying spaces that aren't where they're from, and they're trying to make it their own, you know. But this place is really ours. This is where we're from.
All right. Thank you for viewing that with us. Like I said, I was able to meet the streamers when I first started, and there they are, working with students at UCLA. Also, who came in with the streamers when they came in is Elizabeth Fasthorse, their auntie, our auntie. She's from Rincon Indian community in the San Diego County area. She's here with us also. She's a doctoral candidate in the School of Ed. And we also have, I think, Kevin Hale, who's with us, of the Navajo Nation. Just finished his MSW and is working in the LA Indian community. So we're so thankful to have them both here. Hello, Davida. Hello, Daniel. Hello, Minda. Go ahead and turn on and let's go.
Hi, Donnie.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, Liz.
So we'll go ahead and we'll start off with some questions, and if you could just all tell us, introduce yourselves, and just tell us what you're doing. Yeah.
You start.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Daniel Streamer. I just finished my last quarter at UCLA in September. So I have my BA in American Indian Studies. Currently, I have a job, and then I'm trying to apply to law school and for the next year's fall. So that's my plans.
Hello, everybody. My name is Minda. I graduated from UCLA June 2018 with my bachelor's in American Indian Studies. And then I went on to the University of Chicago where I got my MSW. I just finished this past June, actually. Currently, I do not have a job because coronavirus. But I was a recipient of the Indian Health Scholarship, so I will be fulfilling my requirement with them for the next 2 to 3 years. So currently I'm working on getting set up with them, hopefully in the Rincon Rincon office down there.
Hi, everybody. I'm Davida. I'm still taking care of these kids. I'm still wearing my shirts. They really hold up well. UCLA has great quality t-shirts. And my son David is in his second year at law school, and he's doing really, really well. The kids obviously had to finish everything online here at home since March. And yeah, it's been a little challenging, but we did it. Daniel got his degree, Minda got her degree, and David is being successful. And I'm still cooking, and I'm waiting for them to get jobs. But no, it's going really well. I'm working as a tribal leader and just trying to take care of my people out here on the res.
She's being humble. She's our vice chairperson.
Yes, congratulations. She's just so all of you know, our tribal systems run like our president leaderships. We have chair, vice chair, president, vice president, and Davida is Los County's vice chair. So she's one of their community leaders there. And so not only did she raise all of her kids to be community leaders and go to school, but then she became community leader. So that's just so great. So congratulations.
I had to.
I think you've been chair for what, 4 or 5 years now?
No, this is my second year. I'll be going for another term, so.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
No corrupting votes. No, I'm kidding.
No, I gotta make sure they don't steal our money, you know.
We'll go ahead and get started. I have so many questions, and also students, if you have questions, please put them in the chat, and then we can make sure that we ask the family these questions. This is your time. So what was one of the hardest things about, I guess, sending David, the first one, to UCLA? What was the hardest thing about sending David to school? Like, because can you tell us too about how far you are from UCLA?
Yeah, we're 138 miles from UCLA. And that was one of the reasons why we did pick UCLA, because it was relatively close. You know, like if anything happened, we could be there in like 2 to 4 hours, depending on traffic. But 2 to 8. Yeah, it was hard. You know, it was really hard. But I wanted him to go. I think it was probably harder for him just being away from home. You know, like most natives are very, you know, they like to be home. They like to be around their families. It's their comfort zone. So sending your kid out of their comfort zone, you know, you worry about things. You worry about the traffic. You worry about alcohol, all those things, you know, like college life. And I worried if the work would be too hard. And I remember him calling me like at 11:30 at night his first year, and he's like, "Mom, he's all, I have this paper due and I don't know what to write." And you know, we went through things like that, and we would drive up there every weekend to pick him up and bring him home, and it was a lot of work. It was a lot of work, but it was worth it. It was really worth it. And it was, yeah, it was worth it.
Yeah, by the time they got to me, they didn't even come up one time. but like I'd call my brother. Like I wasn't like, you know, I had a paper due, my first paper. I didn't know what to write, and I called my brother, and I was like, dude, I don't know what to write. This is due tomorrow. He's like, well, whatever, dude. He's like, just get it done, and that's all he told me. So you know, you just sit down and you know you write an honest paper. Like you don't have to write the best paper. You write an honest paper.
C paper.
And
C's
then like,
degrees.
nah. Well, I did take a C, but you know, I eventually got A's. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I didn't give up. Like,
No.
as long as I got a foot in, like, and got my confidence up.
And then just so everybody knows, Minda's the one that taught me how to ask my professors for extensions. So there's always that, you know, being resourceful and asking for extensions when you didn't know.
Yeah, because it never hurts to ask, you know. You're struggling, they know you're struggling. You know, most professors are understanding, like, hey, you got a lot on your plate. Like, you know, if you're a student, you're also working, you have, you know,
Family.
familial issues, like, you never know. So just
Economic issues.
yeah, reaching out like, hey, professor, I'm under a lot of stress. Like, just, you know, ask for that extension. More than likely, they'll be like, all right, you know, you get a week.
Which was so great about ASA, you know, because the kids actually had a support system at the college. You know, it'd be like, you know, their son family and they had advisors for them. And I would just totally encourage them to reach out to those people. I mean, they're there to help you, you know, they're there to help you. And eventually, you know, they got through it and they did learn how to use those resources.
Awesome. What was one of the ways that you guys continued culture while you're at UCLA?
Oh, go ahead.
You want to? Well, yeah, student programming. You know, we got into UCLA, and we wanted, you know, we got younger cousins that are coming up, and like all our friends and things like that have younger cousins, and those are the people I want to see come in. So you know, I teach them, you know, teaching the youth the things that I learned, you know, about my culture, about higher education, and how the two intersect. Like that helped me to express my culture, giving back to the kids who are trying to be in my position. Like, you know, I'm not here because it's mine and I'm gonna take it. I'm here because, you know, I'm making a path for others to follow, and like trying to outreach to those students who want to achieve higher is a way. Like I was able to practice culture. You know, there's storytelling. We, you know, just talking to kids. You know, our storytelling traditions up or withheld. You know, like we keep them going. They're present, and like all those things. You know, was really easy to express with the younger generations, and like having them understand those things that I had to understand. So.
Being involved in the powwow.
Yeah, also being a part of ASA, the American Indian Student Association, that helped us stay in contact with our culture. And we did things like the powwow, the youth conference. We had the Native Heritage Week, and you know, I was a part of planning those and coordinating them, and even volunteering at the
Remember you were Rain?
Yeah, I was also worked for Rain. I was a peer counselor for Rain, and then the retention coordinator and a wellness coordinator for Rain. And that was actually a big support, helping me stay part of my culture. Because then when I went to Chicago, at the University of Chicago, there's like absolutely nothing. I had to form my own little support group just with my friends because, you know, but they didn't have the student groups like ACE at Chicago at all. It's very lonely over there.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about the relationship that UCLA has a really unique relationship between American Indians and Pacific Islanders? Can you talk about how you built those relationships with Pacific Island communities while you were there at UCLA?
Yeah, so ASA and PISA worked really close together, and it was fun doing events with them. Like even just like my weekly Friday workouts I'd plan, you know, always invite PISA. They'd always come, and fun time playing volleyball, kickball, all of that, or even helping PISA with their events when they have their pack night and help them volunteer or help. We volunteer with them and then they volunteer with us at our events, you know, just like a close knit community because we're both small communities on campus. So bringing us together, we're unstoppable.
Yeah, the PISA kids are really, really friendly too. They're cool.
I know that we all had a lot of classes together, and like, what was I don't know, what was one of your most difficult classes I think you might have had, and maybe why? What was, I don't know if you think of like one of your most difficult classes. For me, I think it was pretty.
The most difficult class.
Remember when you tried economics for a while?
No, yeah, I did. I remember. Yeah, so there was a period of time where it took like 3 or 4 economics classes, and they were like heavy on math. And in high school, the highest math I went to was algebra 2. So I had to take like pre-calculus and then calculus at UCLA, and that was really hard. Then I was taking like a econ class with just all this math in there, and
statistics.
I had to drop that class because I was gonna fail straight up. Just with the F.
I had trouble with the general education classes. There's just a lot of information, and a lot of times I wasn't interested. So like it was just hard to stay focused in class and things like that. But you just continue working. You ask your peers and you ask your friends, and they help you through it. And there's not, you're just gonna find those classes. You don't know which ones, but you'll find them.
In the video, you guys talk about a little bit about not having the classes you needed from your local high school to feel like you were going to be successful in UCLA. I know that as a lot of us are community college students coming from different community colleges, like either in the South Bay or secluded areas, we feel like maybe we don't have the classes as well to compete with at UCLA. How did you overcome that?
I think it was just like getting in good habits and getting in routines that so for example, for me, I struggle with writing papers. That's one of my biggest things is writing. I remember that I had to take the English Comp 3 when I got to UCLA, which is like the basic English class. And I'm in this class and I'm trying to write these papers, and I'm like, it's so hard. And my professor's like telling me I'm using passive voice and this and that. I'm like, I don't know what that means. Like, teach me how to write. So what helped for me was going to office hours at my professors and like going through drafts of my paper. Like, hey, can you read this for me? Like, tell me what I need to work on. Like, what can I add more? Can I add less? And then I also took a few English classes for fun, just to help me with my writing, and also because I enjoyed reading. It just took practice for me. The more you do it, the better you get at it. And reaching out for help really helped for me. My professors, my peers, my roommates, just having anybody and everybody read over my paper, to make sure I have that good final draft to submit.
What was the question?
How did you overcome not having the preparedness?
Yeah, I had trouble writing too, and I think that's what, our schools really made us, like we really lacked writing skills. They didn't really care what we wrote, but they'd always try to tell us how we write, but it's really practice. Like, I listened to these professors say, this is how you're supposed to write, this is how you're supposed to write, but I never learned to write like that. Like, it was once I accepted, like, I'm gonna write how I want to write, and then using those after you learn how you like to write, you could learn those tools that they try to tell you about. Like, if you don't know how you write, you're just not gonna enjoy writing or understand it. So you got to find like your style, because everyone has a style of writing, and you have to find that style that makes you interested in what you're doing and makes you feel good and confident about your work.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
the more help you get, the better, the easier it makes it. Even for math, I got a tutor and I would meet with my tutor once a week to help me with math because boy, I needed help. But it's just practice, you know, the more you do something, the better you get at it. And that's all it is. Just the more you write, the better you become. The more you study, the more knowledge you retain and so on and so forth.
It's really funny. Kevin Hale on here, he's text Professor Crosscree's course, Indigenous Linguistics. One of his hardest courses.
Yeah, it took me 2 quarters to finish that class.
Yeah, same.
I think that class depends on who the TA is, though, to be honest. I don't think he grades his papers.
Davida, were you ever worried like that the I don't know how to say it.
That they weren't going to graduate.
No, like you know, sometimes a lot of our Native families, they worry about, you know, going off to college just because of our historic trauma, going off to school and then not coming back, being able to be Indian anymore, I guess is like the simplest way to say it. Like so many times we went to college, or we were moved for boarding schools and we came back white, we didn't come back Indian. And you know, did you ever have that fear when you sent them to school? Or?
No, absolutely not. We're Indian. We're Indian. It doesn't matter, you know, you can't change that. You can't change our blood. You can't change where we come from. We're trying to change our outlook, you know. We're trying to change the way we see the white man's world, you know, we're trying to make it to our advantage finally. That's where I wanted to turn the corner on that, you know. I didn't want them to have any kind of barrier. You know, they are who they are. And they're proud, educated Native Americans with college degrees from UCLA, and it doesn't get any better than that. I'm sorry. You know, even if they decided to live here on the reservation for the rest of their life, you know, they still have opportunities. They still have their credentials. You know, it's just better. And I never worried about that, because you can't take away our experiences and our life here. We're trying to make that better. You know, we're trying to make that better.
Right. Was there ever difficulties for you as students to balance cultural obligations and family obligations while being at UCLA?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, they're overloaded, you know, they're overloaded with, we had all kinds of family issues going on here at the reservation. And they had to like maintain their grades. We had to maintain school. They had to come home. We had to sit through all night wakes. I mean, we had to do a lot of stuff, you know, and then they had to perform at school at those different volunteer things that they did with the Indian youth, you know. It took up every second of their time, you know, every minute, every second. But, you know, that's better than doing nothing.
And somebody asked, how did you support them during those times, Davida?
Scholarships. They got a lot of scholarships. They really did, from high school. And we did FAFSA, and each one of them earned over at least between $10,000 and $15,000 worth of scholarships from different tribes. And we budgeted that money and we rolled it over every year into our tuition. And you know, we gave them gas money and stuff like that, and we bought them food, but you know, we're used to being poor, so it didn't really matter, you know, as long as we had that tuition covered. And they were really great kids with their budgeting and stuff, but you know, the way they ate, they didn't spend their FAFSA on clothes. They didn't spend their FAFSA on things they weren't supposed to. I never let them do that.
I have really good shoes that you
Donnie. Buy watches. No, I'm just kidding.
I did. I always have nice watches.
Just kidding.
I like
No, just really, we used the money for what it was for, and that's how we made it.
Yeah, and like you know, like it's probably hard for her to see, but from our point of view, you know, our parents were always just telling us to. They encouraged us to, you know, just to learn other people. Like, you know, they told us, you know, be supportive in our groups. You know, they always encouraged us to be supportive. So like, you know, we didn't really have to worry about home. We knew they were at home. They were taking care of home. Well, we were taking care of, you know, our community at school and things like that. Like that's what they supported us. They knew we were out in LA. And we had to support that LA community. So that's what we were doing. And that's all we, you know, that's what really helped us get through it was, you know, finding those people that we could support, like our brothers and our sisters and like our little cousins. Like that's, at least that's how I saw it, you know.
You're not gonna say anything, Minda?
That's a question. Just how we
No,
felt.
just how did you balance
How did mom support us?
culture and yeah.
Yeah, well, I always call my mom during tough times, just when I'm stressed out or just need some advice. You know, my mom was only a phone call away, a few hour drive if I really needed to be home. But it's, you know, I always felt supported every step of the way. You know, if I just needed some encouraging words or just needed to hear I love you, I just, you know, call my mom and dad or go home on the weekends. But I never not felt supported by them. You know, they're our biggest support ever.
I really thank all of you because like, you know, my transition into UCLA, like I had all of three of you there. And then even being able to go home with you guys on the weekends sometimes and be up, you know, be up at your home was really, really great and really welcoming. And I know that we see that that family bond and how you take that community bond and bring it together. So I really appreciate, you know, that part of you guys and that part of everything. We have a question here and it says, how is the transition from undergrad to a graduate program?
Ooh, to be honest, it was not like the schooling itself. Just the whole mood and the whole program itself was really rough because I moved across the country to Chicago, you know, to completely different society, completely different community, completely different culture than what I'm used to. You know, even from here, even from the res to UCLA, you know, it wasn't like a big shock. I wasn't like, oh my God, I feel so out of place. Like, what do I do? But that's kind of how I felt like moving to Chicago because I get there and everything is just different. Just, you know, I was so far away from home, even though, you know, my mom's only a phone call away. She's thousands of miles away. I can't just take that weekend trip home, but I'm feeling homesick, you know, so I kind of had to just push through that and build community with my friends there. It was hard. I'm not going to lie. It was really hard. The work itself, the schoolwork itself, you know, it wasn't, if anything, it actually felt easier than undergrad, you know, a lot more reading, but just less work in general because it's more about what you're learning and not so much about what you're producing. So in that sense, it was easier, but everything else was harder. I had an internship for 2 years with my program. I had an internship with an elementary charter school my first year. So I was working with a lot of youth in the elementary school, counseling them. And then this last year, I had my internship at the U Chicago Hospital in the pediatrics trauma department, and that was really traumatizing. You know, I saw really traumatizing. Every day, you know, going into work, I'm seeing all these youth who are, you know, are affected by gun violence. That's huge in Chicago, so that's a lot what my work revolved around was gun violence in youth, and it was traumatic. But overall, it was a good experience. You know, I wouldn't change it for anything. I think I learned a lot. It helped me grow as a person. Being away from community, you know, made me realize even more how much I want to be here and how much work I want to do here. But it was hard. But you know, I got it done. Went through the motion, got it done.
Yeah. David, I can just talk about. He did his graduate at UCLA. And I think he said it was really hard because it's a lot of writing and you have to have that paper by the end of the
Yeah, the thesis. David
thesis.
had to do a thesis. I didn't have to do a thesis. Mine was more of like clinical work. But I think for David, the transition was pretty easy because he stayed at the same school, he knew the same community, kind of had the same classmates around. So I don't think his transition was that hard.
But the work is hard.
Yeah,
The work is hard.
the work is hard.
Santi says on here that you speak about, Davida, that you speak about UCLA and you have the lingo, and it seems like you're so immersed in the UCLA culture, more than some of the people, the staff that have worked there for decades. I think that's just, I think that's because, you're
Baby next time.
there, right? Your babies weren't there. So I think that's, we have this presentation because families, oftentimes Pacific Island and American Indian families, sometimes it's hard for our parents to support us going to college because they didn't go and they don't know how to support us going to college, and sometimes they don't understand maybe our research, or they don't understand what we're moving toward.
Yeah, we don't understand what you're learning and why you're learning that and things. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know that as a student with parents that weren't able to go to college, and telling them like, oh, I'm doing research or I'm doing this, they really didn't understand. And it didn't seem as times like it was helping the family, and
Right.
seeing that, and you're helping build that bridge. I think, with Santi says building the bridge, between families and UCLA for some of our Native and Pacific families.
Uh-huh.
So yeah. So yeah.
Well, yeah, no, I know. I think the parents should be supportive of kids going to college, especially if they didn't go to college. You know what I mean? Because that, it may be difficult while they're doing it and you don't understand, and it seems like they're wasting time. But at the end of the day, when they're finished, I mean, you just really feel a whole sense of accomplishment. And just hearing about UCLA, #1 in California, #1 public university. It's an elite school, and to be able for us to be there, to have graduates, I'm really honored and I feel very proud. And that's something that nobody can take away from me. You know what I mean? Or the kids, nobody can take that away. It only enhances who they are. I think it enhances the school itself, for offering these programs to Indigenous kids and Pacific Islander kids, all the programs they have there. I think that all the kids that go there should be so grateful, to have that opportunity and to be seen and heard and have an education from there. That's how I feel.
So Alfred is asking, and Santi, Alfred, feel free to come on here and ask your questions. This is very casual. But Alfred, but Alfred is asking, when are you, Davida, going to come and finish your educational journey at UCLA?
Someday. I mean, I see people like Kevin. Kevin inspires me, and his brother Phil. They were real. I talk about them all the time. I do. I remember Kevin's story about him pushing the shopping cart and then going to college and graduating. It's an amazing story. And I'm grateful that my kids were able to do it, right now on time. But yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe
So
when they
Davida.
jobs.
So Davida.
Yeah.
This is Alfred. Hi, good to see you all. Hi, Minda, and Daniel. So we're always here for you, and I want to say that you're already halfway there. I mean, you already know all the stuff that you need to know. It's just a matter of the process. And I want to acknowledge Ajana, who's here. I don't know if you know Ajana. She's at UCLA now, and she's she said, I'm using her language right now, 53. So it's like never too late. You know, Liz is here, Clementine's back in school. So, and they're all on here. So I want to thank and honor all of them as well.
I
But
think they're amazing, you know, and I always think about them all the time. And I'm very inspired by all of you.
well, we're ready for you whenever you're ready for us.
Okay.
But I'm serious. I mean, this is you already have the expertise. I mean, that's really amazing, and you know, you have that connection that I think other folks can gravitate towards, you know, and can see from your perspective. So, you're ready to have a job. I mean, seriously. I mean, yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're a treasure. I mean, yeah, UCLA will be dumb if they didn't like tap into your expertise. I mean, I'm totally serious about that. I really think that that what you have already is pretty amazing. So yeah, come work with us.
May I say something? May I say something?
Go ahead.
Davida, hi, Daniel, hi, Linda. Oh, it's so wonderful to see you.
Oh, our auntie from the East is here.
I just want to tell you, Davida, I just turned 65, honey. Babe, I have 2 grandsons in college. So it's not impossible, but it is challenging. And I'll tell you one thing, without any of all these individuals that are on this screen, some of them I don't know, but the ones that I do know have all been my support system and inspired me and have encouraged me and have given me the strength. And it's not easy, but it's not impossible. And I'm living proof because what Daniel and Minda have both shared today on this screen about we've never been given those skills or those tools to know how to be in college. I was never taught that. I was just put in school. I went to boarding school and it was nobody ever talked to me about college, not one single time. But you know who told me to go to school? My grandma. My grandma was my counselor. My grandma was the one who said, go to school. She didn't even know the word college. She didn't know the word education, but she knew the word school. Even though it was it has been a negative, we have to take that negative and turn it into a positive, because just like what you said earlier, Davida, is we are who we are. Nobody's going to change that for us, but we gain knowledge and we're able to share that knowledge with others to become stronger in who we are as Indian people, and to be able to be that voice for Indian people who choose not to go to school. And you know, it's okay if you don't go to school, but we choose to do what we do. All of us here that are in this chat at this moment, we all choose this because this is something that drives us so that we can become not a statistic, but become a better person for us, our family, our tribe, and for the greater good of Indian people and Pacific Islander people. So it's not too late, Davida. It's not too late. I'm living proof. Living proof. Thank you.
Beautiful, Liz.
College kid.
So I want to make sure that Dr. Ellen Haryu is here, joining us. We're excited. Kevin Hale is here, and Clementine is back as well. So if you want to say anything, please. Go, Kevin.
Hi, Amanda. Hi, Daniel. And I just seen Dave's picture just right now. I was looking on the video that you had. So all I can say is that if I can do it, I think anybody can do it. You know, going back to school, and just got to be serious about your schoolwork and laugh about everything else. I'm telling you, there's everything we did. I'm so grateful to, meet your kids, Daniel first, and helping me out on with that darn what's his name is CPO, um, Antonio, Nemesis Antonio, and and then also for Alfred, Alfred and Santi and Claudia, all of CCCCP for making that fun for me. They're just if I was feeling like pressured or anything, all I had to do is go one floor down and everything would be lifted. And that was the good thing about being in that building together, Campbell Hall, because there was a lot of pressure in that computer room, and sometimes in that meeting in our lounge, for me, and I knew all I had to do is just go down a couple of flights of stairs and talk to them down there in the CCCCP, and everything would be good. And they'd always give me something to do, and so I would take my mind off of that immediate work, and then once I cooled down, I go back up into the computer room and start again. Like Daniel said, Dave would tell him, just get it done. No matter what kind of grade, just get it done. Get that paper done. Just get it turned in, and and so it's a lot of it's a lot of good work and a lot of good anxiety. It keeps you on your toes. That's what for me, anyways.
Thank you, Kevin.
Yeah.
How about Ellen?
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to let you know that I have been here, but when I logged in, it set my name as Pixel 4. So when Pixel 4 was enthusiastically commenting during Lydia's presentation, that was me.
Oh.
So it's great to see everyone. I really enjoyed the day. Lydia was amazing. Thank you to the streamer family. And it's so great to see everyone. I was so excited to see Liz on here too. So, my name's Ellen Hardy. I'm an enrolled member of the Cowlitz Indian Tribe. I'm a UCLA alumni, and I am also a former peer mentor for CCCP. I was there before MPI site, and then I actually worked for the very first MPI site, and that was such an amazing experience to be able to start this program. And then it's amazing to see how far it's come. Just want to say to all the MPI scholars, you all are amazing. I know that everything's a little bit weird right now with everything going virtual and the way that we're learning is changing, but you're amazing and keep it up. And thank you for letting me say something here today. Great to see everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Harju. Just so great to see so many of our leaders and our people that have come up and been here to support so many of our Native students. Just growing up in LA, I grew up with the Hale family, going to powwows and going to youth conference and a lot of things like that. And growing up with Kevin's brother Philip Hale, as he was our education leader, a lot of the times being in a stinky van, and going to UCLA for youth conference all the time, and never thinking that I was going to be a student at UCLA. I wanted to go to Long Beach or DeVry because I worked and I didn't think I had the grades to go to UCLA, and it's just what it was, and I met the streamers, and I was happy because they're at the time for a long time UCLA was a bunch of Navajos and a bunch of Lakota kids, and they had California Indians at UCLA, always everybody else. And then David got in there, and Kenny got into UCLA, and David, and they're both from San Diego County. And then here creeping along came Liz, transfer student from San Diego County. And I'm from, my res is from the Imperial County. So just to see all of us coming from these small reses that, that we're poor, we didn't have no money, we didn't have no nothing, still don't. And so all we got is COVID. That's the highest per capita we've ever had is COVID numbers. And so and so coming in now, is just really great. There was a time that there was all just, California Indian students sitting there and working, and being together. And so it's really important to have that at UCLA, and it's really important to have that coalition with Pacific Island students. So when you don't have all those California Indian students or just other Indian students, to have other indigenous students like Pacific Island students to stand with you, that we stand together. We come through the same traumas. Pacific Island students were also in your histories were also stolen from your families as your stolen generation, and as they went through New Zealand and Australia and all the Pacific countries, those communities were stolen too. And so we see that affect us, all of us, in different ways. And so we don't have to play a sport to be into these universities. We don't have to just play football or basketball just to come into university, but we could come in through our minds. And to see the papers that the streamers wrote while at UCLA, to see the things that they wrote about and are writing about now, is pretty phenomenal work. Me and Daniel were in a lot of classes together where we wrote a lot of great papers together, and then and then we would, if we didn't write the paper, we would take David and Minda's old papers and try to rewrite them to make them our own. So,
Okay, that's painfully real.
it is because Alfred would overwork us and we don't have time to do our work.
Exactly.
I know that there's Daniel, they're asking if you could tell us about some of your research that you're doing on this.
Thank you, Clem.
My research?
Yeah, your gardening research.
Well, I wasn't necessarily, my education is not necessarily research based, but more of a project based. And like the basis of my project are things I like. So I like, well, one of my biggest hobby is gardening, and I wanted to incorporate that into my education and my community. So for my capstone project, which is your final project that you research, and then you basically create a proposal for a project in a community. So I put the focus on my community, and my project was about implementing a community garden program, using that as a source to teach environmental relationships, food sustainability, because our community is a food desert. It takes us 40 miles to go to the grocery store, and without a car or without a good car, you're not going 40 miles and back. No. So, having something like a garden in your community, you eat from the land you're given. And, we still have a lot of our native plants here that we can eat and that we could use as medicine, but that is, that intimidates people still. They're like, that doesn't taste like the foods that we have now. That medicine doesn't work as potent as pharmaceuticals and yada yada. So like having something like, growing in your front yard out of a garden is not as intimidating as going out in the wild and having to collect your own things without knowing. Because if you collect the wrong thing out in the wild, you could die, you could get sick, but learning those things right in your own home, and that's why, that's something that really made me look forward to research, look forward to paperwork, look forward to contacting others about scholarships and their scholarly their works. It's kind of intimidating, but when you find those things that you enjoy, it really makes it easy. And I never thought about using gardening as the tool, as the research or things that I was going to focus on, but those are the things I like. And You know, that's what came to my mind when I thought about research, when I thought about service, when I thought about community. You know, is feeding them, making sure they're safe, and doing things I think are fun. You know, like those are all important things, and that's how I got into my research. You know, it wasn't about researching something about making a theory. It was about putting something that is here that we have and that we can use, and that was the project behind of what I'm doing, what I'm researching. So.
Yeah, I just want to say something about Daniel. His 4 years, to me, it seemed like he was really struggling. I mean, like those papers that he worked on, he would just pour over them and over them. And he was just be, you know, just so wound up. And for this whole 4 years and into two summer sessions, you know, just locked in his room on that computer. I'm just like, what is he doing, you know? And then finally he finished. He showed me on the computer. He's like, look, Mom, he had A's and his degree is completed. And I was like, wow, son, you really did it, you know? And I'm like, God, dude, it seemed like it was so hard. He's all, well, Mom, I really wanted to understand what I was learning. And nobody ever really said that, you know, like he really wanted to understand what he was learning, not just get through it, but he wanted to understand it. He wanted to know it. He wanted to feel it. And that's what made it so hard. But now I really appreciate him doing that, even though it seemed like it was really, really hard.
Minda, what made you pick social work?
You.
No, really.
Well, did you mean to help him?
I was kidding. But no, you did inspire me, buddy. No, because I wanted to do something. I want
hands-on.
To do something hands-on. Yeah, I don't like office work. I hate being like at a desk in a cubicle out there, like just mundane tasks, you know. I wanted to be able to physically do something, and I want to focus on social work because my degree it's clinical social work, so it's more on like the therapy side. So all my internships and all my classes were focused on like therapy and like trauma work and different modalities to use, different tools to use. So I learned a lot in that sense, and I wanted to bring it back here. You know, my long-term goals are to eventually have a community mental health center for the Native community here in my reservation and the surrounding reservations, because currently nothing like that exists. And I think mental health is very taboo in our communities. It's not talked about enough. I think we need to talk about our historical trauma and how it's affecting us and our future generations, because this cycle needs to stop, because we need to build up our communities and we need to be running our own things and not having
we're not getting the help, we're not getting the mental health that we need, like at the clinic, you know. And I can attest to that with my nieces and nephews. You know, they have actual mental health problems and they're not getting therapy, they're not getting medication, they're not getting anything, you know. And it's very frustrating. It's very frustrating.
Awesome. So I don't know, is there any more questions that anybody has? I have like tons of questions, but they're not appropriate for this platform. Like I said, going to the streamer's home is my second home. I have a bedroom there.
It's still waiting for you, Donnie.
Yeah, we have 2 bedrooms now.
Oh.
I need to bring my picture. But you know, if there's anyone that has any questions, please ask. Feel free to jump in and ask anything you want about UCLA experience or their experience. Let's think. Yeah, I don't know.
How many kids are you trying to recruit?
As many as we can. I know we talked about like our toughest classes, but what was your funnest? What was like some of your funnest moments?
Funnest classes. I took a detective fiction class. That was really fun. We read a lot of like detective fictions. We read a lot of like Sherlock Holmes and Agatha Christie and what's that other one? Dashiell Hammett. So we read a lot of detective, and then we got to write our own detective fiction. That class was really fun. It also helped me with my writing. And then I think what's another fun class? I don't think
Your Italian.
The Italian classes are fun because they're super easy. Like guaranteed an A. Those classes are fun.
Yeah, we were making Italian food. We were
watching Italian films.
She was immersed in the Italian.
No, but the language classes are pretty good. Like I took Spanish, and all my professors, like they knew like a lot about culture. They knew a lot about traveling and food and things like that. So like I really liked listening to the language professors and how they talked about and how they taught their material. And also learning another language is it's hard, intimidating, but it's very rewarding, and you see a larger perspective. So the language classes are always fun. So don't be scared of them. Like just see it as an opportunity to learn about a place, far from where you're from or whatever.
Awesome. Davida, somebody has a question here that says, what advice would you give Indigenous parents to support their children pursuing higher ed?
Higher education?
Yeah, higher education.
What would I tell the parents? I would say you gotta let them go. You have to make them go. You've got to be supportive. You don't need to understand what they're doing. You don't need to understand. Like Minda brought home books, and I can't read them. I don't like them. I'm like, this is boring. But but you want your kids to have a better life than you have. I mean, as a parent, that should be something that you want for your kids. And if that includes a higher education, then you got to be all in, and you have to be supportive. You can't ever say anything derogatory, because college kids are very sensitive. They're very, very sensitive because of all the pressure and all the work, and now with COVID, you just have to be more supportive than ever. And don't say anything stupid. You have to be 100% supportive.
Awesome. I think Kenny Ramos just came in. Kenny, are you here?
Oh my gosh, calling me out. Yes, I'm here. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh, I have a weird background. I'm driving. I'm trying to be safe, but I'm so sorry I'm late, but oh my gosh, hi. It's so good to see you all. Oh, hey, Alfred just popped on there.
Kenny.
Hey, Alfred. Well, I mean, I know you've been here, but I just see your face right now.
Driving?
Hi. I'm sorry, yes, I'm driving. I'll put my eyes back on the road. I know. See, look, there's my freaking, you can see my wheel. That's so bad. Okay, I'm muting myself. But so good to see you, streamers, all of you. Ah! I have to come up and visit. I'm talking to Daniel knows. I'll come up and visit. I need to pick up some pumpkins and some.
Kenny,
Linda, I love your bangs, girl. Oh my gosh, sorry. Okay, Davina, it's so good to see you. It's just oh, sorry. Okay, I'm excited. I just have a lot of love for you all.
We could not tell.
Muting.
Kenny is amazing. He's the real reason why I wanted my kids to go to UCLA, because when I saw that he was a local kid from a local tribe and he was actually happy and thriving there, I was like, oh my God, and the food. When I saw the cafeteria and the food, I was like, you guys are going here. But yeah, Kenny had a real big part in just making me, as a Native person, feel welcome at such a prestigious place where I kind of felt uncomfortable, like maybe I didn't belong there. But with him being there and so warm and friendly, and I was just like, I felt like I was at home. All the kids there made me feel like that.
I remember that day. It was such a pleasure and such a joy. I was happy. I was excited. The other SoCal Native kids, are you kidding? And that was I remember that day very well.
Yeah, that was a great day. That really was.
And Mitch with the Masters. Anyway.
So yeah, so I know that a lot of families are just, we see each other come into these spaces, coming to the university, um, so many people, and that's what brought me to UCLA. Watching Kenny come through, watching. I wasn't a student at the time; I was just a consultant, and being able to see other natives come through UCLA really inspired me to finish at my community college. Watching Kevin Hale come in and knowing his story and knowing his background, and being from the city next to mine. He's from Norwalk. I'm from La Mirada. So watching him come in and knowing his background, knowing his story, and knowing that he could go in and he could thrive. Just so all of you students, you do not have to be smart to get into UCLA. You just have to work your ass off. And that's all it is. That's all the difference. That's all it is. And us as Native and Pacific Island students, we've always worked harder than everybody else. You know what I mean? It's hard to work in a place where your land is constantly stolen. It's hard to thrive in a place where you're always constantly watching others fight for their rights. Lydia said it really great today. She said, watching so many communities fight for civil rights when you on your own land don't even have those rights. And then you have to support them. It's very funny. Kenny's posting every day about right there down the street from his home. They're getting ready to put up those fences and those walls, walls that we've traveled through for generations. We as Indian people, no, we did not have walls and fences. We did not have borders, but we did have boundaries. And we respected those boundaries when we came into each other's lands. We had protocols to those boundaries when we came into each other's lands, just like when our Pacific Island brothers and sisters connect to each other through the ocean on those waves coming into each other's lands, into each other's islands. So thank you so much to the streamers for always allowing me to come up to your lands, allowing me to be a part of your family, Kenny being a part of your family, and with your mom and being and your dad, and that's what we were able to share. When I was leaving LA to move up to Yurok country, I made sure and I was able to stop at all these different families and do things. And Kevin Hale's family hosted a barbecue for me at their house, and they blessed me before I left, and different families along the way. So for all of you Pacific Island and Native students that are scholars, you have family that is ready and waiting for you here at UCLA with open arms, open hearts. We're ready for you to come in and be a part of us, be a part of our communities, and sit with us. We have CCCP, which is its own family, ready to bring you in as a transfer student when when you feel like you don't belong in. Me and Shannon talk about it all the time, how we didn't feel like we belonged at times as students because we didn't come in straight from high school. We came in, as transfer students, and sometimes you have that thought that you don't belong there, that they made a mistake, and then to be removed like we were for COVID and not be able to finish and not be able to have the ceremonies of graduation, not being able to be honored in powwow when they being danced around the arena for our accomplishment because of COVID. Those are really hard things that we as Native and Indigenous students have to go through. This is not the first time that we've been removed off of something through education, through anything because of a pandemic. We've always been removed because of a pandemic. We've always been pushed because of a sickness or a disease. And then it happened, this year for us. So it's just our ancestors telling us that we're no different, and because they've been through it and they survived, we are going to go through it and we are going to survive. So thank you so much to Davida and Minda and Daniel, and I know David's in a class right now. Thank you so much. I love you guys so much. You guys have been such a blessing to me in my life, and just seeing you on the screen is just, it's so great.
It's great to see all you all too. It really is. It really is.
Yeah. So, Alfred, do you want to say something?
Somebody said it earlier. It's like a talk show. This has been great. I mean, it's like sitting down in the living room, having a conversation. Of course, you are in your living room, I assume. But it has been real. It has been honest. It has been fun. It has been enlightening. And I think for me to see the power, and I think it starts with you, Davida. I think that it is truly amazing when you have someone like you in your life to walk through, push through, blast open those doors to make sure that your kids have the opportunities to get to a place like UCLA is really important. And I think it speaks a lot to the ancestors and how strong and resilient the community, your community has been. And we are honored to have had your family there. It has been amazing to just sit and listen to all of you talking about the different experiences and the opportunities, the challenges, and all of that. And the humor is a great way, because we know that it is a struggle, but sometimes you just got to laugh through it and help you through that, because it's important to continue to, and I don't want to say survive, I want to say excel. So for CCCP and everything that comes with that, and my office, thank you for showing everyone here what it's like to be a family, in spirit, in hope, in challenge, in success, in everything. And I am just honored to be here with all of you, to be in this space. We had a great session this morning with Lydia and everything that was going on there, and the panel with our 4 scholars during the intercession. And now this has been uplifting and one of the highest points of my week and month. And it's just so exciting to see how this has come together. And a huge thank you to our students, Donnie and Shannon and Ma'i, for pushing. And I'm going to say pushing because, as you know, they're pretty strong-willed, and they were always using Donnie to be the battering ram with me to make sure that they got their way. Donnie, in his ever so quiet way, would make suggestions, but I'm really happy that this has turned out to be like it has, because it's been beautiful, and I can't thank you all enough. Everyone on here, the streamers, Lydia, and everybody else that's been a part of it. Thank you so much. Turn it back over to Shannon.
And also thank you to Jim, who's not there. He's probably working.
Yes.
And such an instrumental part as well. Your guys' dad, Jim.
Oh yeah.
Jim.
Yeah, he's still cracking the whip. You know, he really does push us all really hard, but you know, like Alfred was saying, you know, at the end of the day, we have success, you know, we have successes, and I have hope now for my future. And I'm just excited to see David graduate from law school, which is like totally amazing. I can't wait to see Daniel take the LSATs, you know, which is coming up, and that's going to be really cool. And I can't wait to see Minda working at Indian Health, you know, with our community. It's going to be really great. It's awesome. It's awesome.
And we can't wait to see you go back to community college to prepare for UCLA.
Okay.
Awesome. Awesome.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone for joining us for our last session of the day. Thank you to the streamer family and to all of our community members who've been able to tune in today. These are our sessions tomorrow. If you're able to join us, it's the same Zoom link. Just tap in at around 10:30 or 10 to hang out with us. And we'll have a community cultural wealth session with Alice Lincoln Cook. In the middle session, there's office hours for anyone who would like to talk more about community college, life at UCLA, or any questions for our office. And then our last session of the day tomorrow will be an empowerment session with Sefa Aina. So thank you everyone again for today. It's been an amazing day. If you'd like to give some feedback to our presenters or to us, please use the link at the top. If you want to join our group me for conversations, that's in the green square. And we're going to have a raffle tomorrow. So if you'd like to be in on that, please join us tomorrow at 2.
Virtual food, like.
Right.
That would be nice.
Who's gonna make the fry bread?
The Hales. Actually, I'll put a plug in. There's a fry bread drive-through on Sunday. Kevin's family is doing one, and I drove from LA to Norwalk a few months ago because I was craving, and I always crave fry bread every day. But I drove all the way over there and then sat in a parking lot around the corner from their house to eat it because by the time I got it back here, it would have been cold. So I'm already scheduling my appointment for Sunday.
Nice.
Call that TP creeping Alfred.
Oh, well. Anybody else want to say anything while we're here?
I'm going to say that I've got to go up to the tribal office, but it was really great to see all you. And the kids are doing great. And anytime. Good to see you all.
It's good seeing you.
Wow. Wow.
Is that your house, Minda?
Yeah.
What's that?
I love the wall.
Walls.
I love the color.
Your Acapulco sun is called?
Yeah, I think that's what the color is called.
Awesome.
So we are officially finished. If people need to leave, they can. But if you want to stay and chat for a little while, I think a few of us are going to be on here for a while. And if you want to say anything, chat it or turn on your mic.
I just want to say thank you for just
I think you're free.
pride. I cuss as you, and it's just wow, what an amazing day. Just everything. So well done. Congratulations. Thank you for putting it together, and thank you for allowing us to be a part of it. So yeah, I'm very inspired. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Donnie, for having us again. Alfred, everybody at NPI. To all the incoming students, community college students, you guys got this. You can do it. I believe in you. If you ever need anybody to talk to, any support, you can reach out to me. I'll give Donnie my email to give to you guys. Actually, I'll just write it in the chat right now. Let me get that right now.
So if we need therapy, we can just email you, right?
Yeah, if you need therapy, just hit me up.
So, you know, it's beautiful because you're in the top row on my screen and Kevin is right underneath you. So there you go, 2 therapists right there.
Perfect.
And then I'm just a social worker that takes away kids. So if you need your kids removed, come get me.
For
was going to say thank you all for today, for being here, for putting this program together, for sharing your stories. And Donnie, as you're telling all these stories, you're taking me back to the days of the Buenos, of Robin Bueno, Kathy. So, I mean, we're taking it way back to the ASA of 20 years ago and Rain. And Kenny somewhere in there. I wanted to do a plug because he's going to be part of the Bruin Life thing that's happening tomorrow, right, Kenny? Are you still there?
Hi, yeah, I see your face, Claudia. What up? Nice to see you. Hi. Yeah, I'm gonna be in This Is Bruin Life.
This is Bruin Life. Here you go.
Yeah, yeah. And Santi, hi, I just saw you come up in the chat. Hey, Santi. And sister Donnie. Sorry, now I'm just saying hi to my friends. Hi, all my friends. Anyway, but yes, This Is Bruin Life. I think it's tomorrow at 5. I was commissioned with 2 Tongva artists to do a piece, and yeah, I hope you all enjoy it and get to see it.
Good to see you,
Really
Kenny.
great to see so many people. Yeah, hey, oh my gosh. Yeah, it's so exciting.
Yeah, just that part alone, just seeing everyone, that's just like so amazing, so amazing.
Do you feel old now? Something.
I have felt, just been about a decade, I've been feeling old, so
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
not a new feeling. Maybe it's a new feeling for you, that's why you're saying it. Love you all. I gotta get going. 'Cause I have a doctor's appointment, but I'm gonna stop the streaming, and I think I'm going to make Shannon back again, the host. Wait, Shannon again?
Yes, I'm here. You can make me host.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Thank you.
And let me know if there's anything else you need for tomorrow. I can work on it this evening.
Okay,
if
thank
not,
you.
then I'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Bye, y'all.
All right. Bye-bye. Going to my next meeting too.
Okay, everyone. Thank you.
Bye, Claudia.
Bye.
Bye. Love you all. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you. Remember, we'll see you tomorrow, same time, which
Same
is
place.
link.
10.
Feeling great, y'all. Congrats.
Good night, everybody. Rest up. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye. Thank you. It is really warm here. It's like 73 today, which is super hot for us.
Can you finally find a tortilla place?
Yeah. It's hot. Thank you, everybody. It's so great having everybody here.
Donnie, have you tried chalupas?
No, I haven't gone to that restaurant yet. Maybe today. I'm going to Costco right now. I'm going to buy a TV. I haven't had a TV in 3 months. So
fancy.
Good.
I miss having TV. Yesterday I built a fireplace